Hi, my name is Dan Jessen, and I'm going to be talking to you about a case study called a team player, a GVV case. I'd like to introduce you to Barbara. Barbara is a productive member of a happy little team of staff-level accountants auditing a client. Their boss, Jessica, a budget-minded company girl, and of course the client who has hired the team to perform an inventory audit. We will introduce Haley and Diane in a minute, and unfortunately the other two random team members, whom we assume are nice people, but we don't get to name them in this story. As the story continues, Diane finds a problem. A small number of inventory items have been double counted. The amounts are relatively minor, but everything else went okay. She comes to the group and informs them of the issue that she has uncovered, and they decide to take a vote if they should tell the boss, who happens to be very budget conscious and doesn't like to go over budget on an engagement. The group decides not to tell the boss, with Barbara and Haley in the opinion that the issue should be resolved. Here's the thing. Barbara is still uncomfortable with the issue. She has some questions. What if the problem is more serious than Diana said, and the client has a much bigger problem on their hands? What if this isn't a minor issue at all and is really the tip of an iceberg? What if Diane's motivations are not pure in voting to escalate the problem in order to not look bad? What if Jessica finds out anyways? So she raises the issue again and again. Her group overrides her. What is a girl to do? So how do cognitive shortcomings play a role here? Diane is most likely letting a System 1 self-serving bias lead her to snap judgment, impairing her moral reasoning of the situation. She is more concerned with being labeled as incompetent by her supervisor for not catching the problem earlier than getting it right. I'd like to talk for a minute about the 6 stages of Kohlbergs Model in relation to Barbara. Stage 1. She is only concerned with what is required at the bare minimum. If the issue is immaterial, she should let it go and not look back. In stage 2, she's concerned only with the fact that she didn't make the error, and any resulting potential fallout couldn't be pinned on her since she didn't make the error. And after all, until democracy prevailed, she was the one that was against it. Stage 3, she doesn't want to hurt her friend by exposing her oversight, and she's concerned with honoring the wishes of the group. She reasons that the potential impact to the client pales in comparison to hurting a friend. Stage 4, she begins to consider the need to get it right and be exact in her accounting practices. If there is a problem, no matter how small, it needs to be fixed in order to be complete and accurate. In stage 5, she realizes that this may be indeed the tip of a much bigger iceberg, and it is literally her job to investigate. Realizing that the risk of overlooking a major problem far outweighs the other negative factors in upsetting the apple cart. And finally, in stage 6, she sees the whole picture and realizes that even though she may potentially negatively impact her friend and coworker, she knows that she can't leave this potentially costly issue alone. The stakes could just be high enough to justify all of the discomfort with her friends and her boss and do what is best for the client. So, what do I think Barbara should do? I think that she should explain to her coworkers that they are accountable first to the client. If there's a problem with the inventory system, it could be the tip of an iceberg, and the client needs to know how deep the problem goes. If they do find a critical error which justifies additional time billed, it'd be well worth it to the client. She should make sure to give Diane credit for finding the error so as to keep from throwing her under the bus. This could turn it from a negative to a positive. She then needs to go to Diane and the group and explain her reasoning and tell them what she's planning to do. If they have rejection or objections, she should hear them out and then explain why she needs to follow through. If her boss shuts her down by saying there isn't enough budget to chase this problem, then she should explain that this is what they were hired to do, and the potential savings for finding and fixing an issue could far outweigh the increased costs of pursuing the problem. If the client pushes back, she needs to really consider if there could potentially be fraud or other errors going on, and explain how costly that could be for the company, and that it is in their best interest to pursue the inventory audit a little deeper. Thank you for your time. Hopefully this was an education.